The wind tears across the open savanna, carrying dust and the low rumble of approaching thunder. A band of Australopithecus moves swiftly, their lean bodies bent forward under the burden of bundles tied with sinew and leaves. Infants cling to the backs of mothers, elders lean on sticks chipped into points, and the strongest carry skins woven from grasses filled with water scooped from distant rivers. They do not linger. They cannot. For them, life is movement, and every pause risks death. The horizon is both promise and threat, each step taken into a world that never allows them to settle. Lightning forks across the sky, jagged and violent, and the smell of ozone thickens the air. The band quickens their pace toward a line of trees, but the storm descends faster. Rain slashes the earth, turning dust into mud, stamping out the warmth of fire, washing away the scents they follow to hunt. They huddle beneath branches, clutching each other against the downpour, their eyes wide as thunder cracks like the roar of some unseen beast. It is a test of endurance, one of countless they have faced. When dawn breaks, the land is remade. Streams have swollen into rivers' paths, drowned beneath rushing water. But the band rises, shakes off the weight of wet hair and mud-smeared skin, and moves forward again. Hunger gnaws at their bellies, sharper than fear. A young male leads them toward the trail of antelope prints pressed deep in soft earth. They stalk silently, moving as one, until the herd comes into sight, a restless sea of bodies, horns, sharp muscles coiled for flight. The Australopithecus fan out throwing stones and beating sticks, driving the herd into chaos. One antelope falters, its leg caught in the churn of mud, and the band descends. Crude stone flakes strike hands, claw teeth, tear, and blood mingles with rain-soaked soil. Victory is brief, for the scent of fresh kill carries quickly. Vultures wheel above a dark omen, and soon the band hears the guttural growl of hyenas closing in. Their feast is cut short. With strips of flesh clutched in their fists, they scatter into tall grass, hearts pounding as predators snap at their heels. One female stumbles, dropping meat to distract the snapping jaws, and the others pull her back into the safety of the group. They regroup at the edge of the plain, panting, smeared in blood and mud, their hunger only half answered. Yet they do not despair. For this is their way, never staying, always carrying what they can, surviving not by conquest, but by movement. Their path stretches endlessly across rivers, storms, and the shadow of beasts written in the rhythm of footsteps that never cease. The sun climbs higher, scorching the land, until heat shimmers above the grass. The band pushes onward, their feet hardened against cracked earth, their shadows long and wavering. They find brief relief at a shallow river, where they kneel cupping water into their mouths, storing what they can in folded leaves tied tight with vines. But danger lingers here too. Crocodiles drift just beneath the surface, their eyes glinting like green stones. The youngest of the band leans too close, drawn by curiosity when the water explodes. A massive jaw snaps, spraying foam, but the strike finds only empty air, as an elder yanks the youth back with a guttural cry. The band scatters stones raised, splashing, striking the surface, until the predator slides back into murky depths. Their breaths are ragged, their hearts pounding, but once again survival demands they continue. They march into a stretch of open plain where herds of elephants have carved deep channels through the soil. The band follows cautiously, scavenging fallen fruits crushed underfoot, plucking roots from damp earth churned by tusks. But shadows rise on the horizon, another tribe lean and fierce, moving with the same restless rhythm. Their eyes lock across the plain, and tension thickens like smoke. There is no space for both. The two groups converge, circling, teeth bared, fists clenched around sharpened stones. The clash is sudden shouts, strikes, bodies colliding in a storm of dust. A stone splits skin, a stick thuds against bone. And for a moment, survival hangs on the edge of bloodshed. But the storm passes quickly. The tribes, seeing their mirrored desperation, pull back. The land is too wide, the dangers too many to waste life on each other. With wary glances they part, each melting back into the grasses, carrying wounds, but also a silent understanding. The band retreats into the shelter of a ravine where vines drape like curtains and shadows cool the stone. There they bind cuts with leaves, smear mud on bruises, and chew bitter herbs to dull the ache. They share what little food remains, tearing it into strips so no one goes without. The night falls, heavy stars cutting through the dark, and they huddle together, listening to the distant cries of lions. Their world is merciless, but within their circle there is warmth, strength, and the promise of another day, on the move. Always onward, never still, their lives are written in footsteps across the ancient earth. Dawn arrives with a chill mist curling above the grasslands, hiding the horizon like a curtain drawn tight. The band stirs in silence, bodies stiff from sleep on stone and earth. But there is no hesitation. They rise, gather their few possessions, and once again their journey continues. They are wanderers by necessity, shaped not by choice, but by the relentless demands of survival. The savanna stretches wide before them, broken only by clusters of acacia trees and the distant gleam of water. Every step is marked by vigilance. Every rustle in the grass may be prey or predator. They walk in rhythm, their feet drumming the ancient ground, their eyes searching their ears, tuned to the whispers of wind and beast alike. As the day unfolds, their journey takes them toward a forest's edge, where the canopy casts broken shadows across the soil. Here food is richer, but so are the dangers. They climb low branches for fruits, strip bark to chew for moisture, and dig carefully with stone flakes for grubs buried beneath roots. Insects swarm, biting at bare skin, yet the band endures, trading comfort for sustenance. But within the shade, another threat emerges. A leopard, its muscles coiled with silent power, stalks from above. Its eyes gleam through leaves, its tail flicks once before it strikes. The ambush is swift claws slashing, but not unseen. A sharp cry splits the air, and the band erupts into action. Stones fly, sticks swing, voices rise in a thunder of defiance. The predator hesitates, snarling, before retreating back into shadows denied its kill. The band trembles, shaken but alive, their unity tested and proven again in the face of death. Their path carries them onward, always onward across hills that roll like waves of dry grass. Storm clouds gather again, darker than night, pushing winds that howl across the land. The band races against the fury, hair-whipping bodies pressed low. They find a cave carved into a cliff, its mouth wide enough to swallow them. Inside they collapse their chests, heaving their faces streaked with sweat and dirt. Fire is impossible here, wet branches refusing to burn, so they cling to one another, drawing warmth from touch and breath. Outside, lightning splits the sky, illuminating the savanna in bursts of ghostly light. Each strike reveals the vast emptiness of their world, a stage where survival itself is the only story. Yet, within the cave, there is another story, one of endurance, of a tribe bound by shared struggle, of a people whose lives are defined by motion, but whose hearts remain tethered together. When the storm finally passes, the band emerges into air washed clean by rain. The grass glistens with droplets, the earth rich with new scents, the rivers swollen with fresh water. They kneel, drinking deeply, washing away mud and blood. Laughter erupts sudden and rare, as one of the youth splashes water onto an elder who grunts, but does not scold. For a moment, the endless weight of survival lifts, replaced by the simple relief of being alive together. They gather around what food they have scavenged, roots, fruit strips of dried meat carried from the last hunt, and share it under the open sky. Their faces soften, their eyes glimmer in the fading light, their bellies fuller than before. As night falls again, they set out once more, their silhouettes stretching across the savanna, blending into the rhythm of stars above. Theirs is a world without permanence, where no cave, no tree, no river can be called home. Home exists only in movement, in the footsteps pressed into mud and dust, in the strength of hands that pull one another from danger, in the unbroken line of survival passed from elder to youth. They are not conquerors of the land, but travelers across it, written into its story by the constancy of their journey. And though predators hunt, storms rage, and hunger gnaws, they remain always moving, always enduring, always alive. Their legend is not in what they built, but in what they carried: fire in their hearts, courage in their bodies, and unity in their endless march across the ancient earth.